welcome to another episode of Control or Refuel. Really special episode, this one, and I'm going to thank our guest in a minute because he's turned up at extremely short notice with an absolutely bulging inbox because we're joined by James Gee of BEV. James, hello mate, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate this.
It's great to be on. Thanks so much for having me. I mean, we talk so much online and what have you. It's great to just have it open and chat, isn't it?
He's our first proper professional guest, and he's charging an extortionate fee as well, which I'm happy to pay.
Do not be insulting to Graham and Hannah. Sorry, James. We have two other people on, and we're all equal. You don't be rude to them. They've been on, and they was amazing as well.
I agree with Paul.
You know that I adore Graham and Hannah. I absolutely do. I'd have their babies. Have their babies.
Let's talk about James.
Let's talk about James.
James, tell us, for people that don't know, please, who you are and what you do.
Sure, yeah. So I work at BEV. Been a couple of years now. I kind of look after what we call our customer products and our partnerships, which is essentially all the cool pricing things we do, all the off-peak subscription, all these great things, and kind of our relationships with things, roaming partners like Electroverse and others. So really just trying to deliver great stuff for drivers pretty much. I'm also a total EV nerd, and that's why I joined. So been in, EVs for quite a few years. And yeah, so really kind of bring that, that driver side to what we do.
James, can I ask, what did you do? What was your previous job before BEV? Because sometimes that gives us an insight into the man.
I used to work in PR and comms for an agency who dealt with like construction stuff. So a lot of it quite environmentally, that kind of area. I mean, my kind of focus in college and what have you was more in physics and maths and that space. So yeah, very much nice to apply that sort of stuff now.
You said it yourself, but I'm going to ask you anyway. I think you're a car nerd, you're an EV nerd, aren't you? I've seen
super nerd, yeah.
Perhaps a super nerd.
I've about C rates and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some other guys. I mean, I'm not going to name, but you can see that he's not. That he's. I mean, he's never going to talk to me. He's never going to come on an interview, so I can badmouth him. But people like. But some of the people in this industry, I hesitate to use the word bean counters, but you're not.
Passion. There's no passion in other people, and you can see the passion in James. That's what you're trying to say. You
can, but for not only because he's PR trained, and we've only just learned that in the last few minutes, but he is in EVs. I'm also, let me get this out the way quite early, is that you invited me and a bunch of other guys to see your Manchester Oasis, which we didn't make because we couldn't make the diaries work. But I understand it's a great site, and Chris has been there. Chris knows this place.
You went to an open day, Chris, didn't you, with your Genesis?
Yeah.
I went to one at Decathlon at Stockport, but when me and James met, James was quite stressed, and I left him alone. and I powered the coffee machine with my V2L on my car. But he was walking around with a laptop trying to fix some things.
Why was James stressed?
I'm not going to talk to him because someone came up with one of your fancy gadgets, but not as good, and decided to plug it in and blew it up, even though he was at the charger with a CHAdeMO plug. And he still decided to use the thing, and he blew it 3 times. And I thought, I'm not going to talk to James at this point because he's going to slap somebody.
Is that what happened, James?
Listen, it's all learning. It was great to have it. I mean, it was busy. It was so busy. I mean, that was a kind of busy opening. But, the opening Manchester Charging Oasis was really something. I mean, there's 12 active bays there that can obviously all charging at once. And at times throughout that launch day, we hired the car park next door, and we had a queue of over 30 whilst 12 were actively charging.
Wow, really? That's such a good job.
So yeah, it was nice busy. No, but I think it's a good point because BEV is full of people like me. We're all super passionate, and this isn't just an infrastructure business. It isn't just about spending money and building stuff. It's really about creating a great experience, right? And so there's loads of nerds here that really do take passion in it. So yeah, it's a great place to be.
But
Well,
you're,
BEV is, or BEV is what, even though I'm a subscription member of a different network, BEV is one of my favorite networks because you can tell the passion and the dedication what you guys do. And when you go on the screens, like you told you, it's clear. You say this is what you'll get at 400 volt. It's what you get at 800 volt, and it's great. I mean, and your subscription service is fantastic.
yeah.
And the only thing with me is we both live in Manchester. BEV is mainly focused in Manchester. It's just too close to my house. But now, with your merger,
we haven't announced it yet.
Right. Well, perhaps
Go on.
perhaps we'll come back to that, because I did want to talk about.
He's part of a network.
I did want to talk about the subscription rates and the amount of there's no easy way of saying this. The amount of money that you charge per kilowatt is substantially lower than.
It's amazing.
It's extraordinary. I mean, so I have to use Shell because that's the nearest rapid charger to my home. And the last time I was there, they were charging 95 pence per kilowatt hour.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I know, it's extraordinary. Tell us what happens when you decide I'm going to charge 39 pence per kilowatt hour. What brings you to that?
There's no getting away from the fact that this is a really expensive industry, especially in the UK. It's expensive per unit and it's expensive to build, and capital is not cheap. So, it's a big infrastructure game and it costs a lot, right? But I think for us, it was kind of it was a point of going, it's great having all these great EVs on the road, all these people who can afford them, but actually it's about opening it up to everyone. And so the subscription is awesome, right? That's a great thing for the people who want to use it, day in, day out, you pay for that, get 39p. I think that's awesome. But the thing that excites me most is off-peak, because it's free, it's available to everyone. And whether you've got, I've benefited in the past from home charging, and it's so cheap and it's amazing. And whilst we can't offer, you're never going to be able to offer 7p because the stuff we're doing is really expensive. But I think the point being below petrol and diesel is what really matters. And so we're really glad.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was going to make that point. Carry on. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
I think that's it. And obviously, it takes a bit of a leap to do that and to offer those things. But drivers, I was just before I came on, we can view all of our hubs in one place and how busy they are and what's happening live. And you see the clock strike 7, and for the few hours after that, so many hubs at this time are full, and it's great. It's so great to see that people are taking advantage of it and that we're throwing out so many miles at 39p.
Have you found that before the pricing structure was introduced, your downtime earned you X amount of income, and now you brought in the subscription, although it's cheaper for the end user, for you it's attracting more people, so you're not actually losing any money because you're still earning, it's attracting more people, so more people or more chargers have more uptime.
Yeah, so on the economics of it, it's a balance, because you've got to generate something per unit, but equally, you'll have heard others in the industry talk about these crazy fixed costs, these standing charges, these capacity charges, and they are crazy. And so the amount of volume we can flow through the network helps to water those things down. So yeah, to your point, yes, we've been able to drive so much more volume through the network.
Utilization is the key here, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've gone through a few phases in this industry of, you start off and all anyone wanted to talk about was size the network. So it was like, we've got X thousand, X million chargers, and that's great. But, the real key, as you just said, to this industry now is utilization, and going, that's okay, you've built a load of chargers, but have you built them in the right places? Have you built them where people want to use them? Have you priced them in a way that people want to use them? And do they work really well so you want to go back? And so, yeah, utilization is really the key now, and it's showing where drivers want to go, because there's choice. In the early days, it was, there's just one in a car park, and that's kind of the only choice I've got, so I'll just pay it is. And now there's choice, and it's brilliant.
Until quite recently, you were known as, I think it's fair to say, a network that was based in the north of England. That changed.
That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
I didn't say either way, but that changed this morning. So talk us through talk us through how that changed.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it's important to know that we started off in Greater Manchester. That was our base, and we took over the network for Transport for Greater Manchester, and we still operate it today. And so there's so many chargers locally that people rely on that we still continue to operate. And then we began to roll out ultra rapid hubs up and down the UK, and that grew us to kind of 200 and odd sites in retail parks, in all great places people want to be. And then, yes, so today we were delighted to announce that we have acquired the Mer UK public charging network, and that triples our footprint overnight. So that means especially along the south and in the northeast. And if you kind of overlay the maps, it's a really perfect match. And it means that we're going to be able to roll out this great pricing, the kind of great reliability and customer experience that people know us for. That's going to be at triple the amount of charges, which is amazing. So yeah, it's going to be, you know, as of today for a customer, nothing changes, and it's still branded Mer. It's still as they've known. And then over the course of the next few months, we will go rebrand, integrate into our network. And so throughout the course of this year and the next 2-3 months or so, it'll all be one kind of big green network. So yeah, super exciting.
It is,
So
especially down my end, because we haven't got anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So I've always been moaning,
Gareth and I are
in
both Gareth and I are in the south, and so yeah, we'd love to see more of your gear. Why Mer? Was it primarily about the geographical distribution of their units?
Yeah, it was a really good fit for us. So it meant that, you know, there's a kind of scale that we want. There's a great overlay. There's also great similarities in things like hardware type. So, you know, lots of chem power and lots of things we're used to.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a really great fit for us. And so yeah, we're super excited.
So your takeover won't involve hardware upgrades. Is it the similar kind of hardware what you're doing, or you just simply have to do a software upgrade for it to integrate into use, where people have a similar? You will have a software upgrade, and then when you go to each machine, it will be like the same experience everywhere, or will you physically be able to say, oh, this used to be a Mer one, and this is how you do it on this one?
So, I mean, first of all, they're going to be green. So we're going to wrap them all. We're going to look exactly as you'd imagine. Good. We're going to move on to what we call our back office, our like charge point management system. And so from our perspective, they'll be on our brain. So the way that, you know, people pay for their charging, the way you pay with Electroverse and all these other things. And then they'll also plug into our support system. So, you know, how we're monitoring faults, how we're kind of pre-diagnosing stuff on the network and fixing it before it becomes a problem. The response to fix stuff like cable theft that you've seen, all this kind of stuff that will be the same as the BEV network. So yeah, there's going to be a mixture, and where some sites need, you know, some hardware maintenance and stuff, we'll do that, of course. And we'll also be able to go and upgrade sites and go, this one's brilliant. Loads of people are using this. Let's add a few more bays. So it's going to be a real mix of some upgrades, hopefully some expansion, and yeah, the same experience that you'd expect in the current network.
It's interesting to me that BEV, I don't know if you were took over or absorbed, I don't know how you describe it, but you said they are now part of your network, but they're much larger than BEV.
But it's just Mer in England, isn't it? You're not taking over there.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, Mer have been an enormous CPO in Europe. They were on the first, so they're an enormous company in Europe, and so yeah, we have acquired the Mer UK charging network. So we've bought that network, and that becomes ours. And so Mer is still going to operate their fleet network in the UK. So, you know, they have lots of fleet agreements and lots of chargers that are kind of in depots and things like that. They'll continue to operate as normal. But yeah, we've taken over the public side for the UK.
So yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It's early days. It's difficult, isn't it? It's great news. My question was going to be like my local chargers. They're had the cables cut. They're tritium 100s, 150s. So I guess at some stage you'll be looking at replacing those and upgrading and trying to solve that cable theft problem. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so unfortunately with cable theft, and this is something that we figured out, is there's no silver bullet. There's no one thing that's going to completely deter cable theft. It's a mixture of different things. And listen, we tried lots of different things on the network. And so we kind of see it in a way that it's, first of all, it starts with location, which we can't impact in this situation. But I think it's important to note that if you build great hubs in great places that people want to use all the time, then cable theft almost goes away.
Because these places are never deserted.
That's busy, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, ironically, one of the great benefits of the off-peak that we introduced was that it almost protects these hubs overnight, because you've got people, run of people using them, and they're never empty. So I think that's the first thing to note. And then it's a mixture of, physically protecting the cables, and there's different solutions to do that, some more effective than others. There's tracking the cables. There's working really closely with the local police forces, which we're doing all up the kind of in the Midlands area at the moment, and that'll expand south. And then CCTV monitoring, live alerts. We're using AI systems that are monitoring the charger, and it can figure out. It's quite cool, actually. It'll figure out if someone looks a bit shifty and if they're about to start cutting. And so, there's some cool stuff that we're doing.
Wow. It leads me on to, I think I shared with you that that charger in Southbourne that had the cables car. Now this is in a beach car park that is closed with a gate, not a gate that you can't get through, but at 11 o'clock at night, or midnight, it's shut. So no one can physically get to these chargers. It's dark, it's recessed, it's top of the cliffs. It's just, in my opinion, the stupidest place to put a valuable piece of equipment with cables that can be stolen. Are they, what, £1,500 a cable or something?
Yeah,
more.
Yeah. So, and for the sake of I know it's token at this point, but the copper is genuinely worth 5 or 10 quid.
Yeah.
Like it's so, and the cost is so high. And we don't like expensive public charging, but things like this is what contributes to it, unfortunately. So getting on top of it is key.
And what do you think about the having AC charges, more destination charges?
It all depends what customers want, right? So there's no point us going in and dictating we think it needs X, Y. It's all, what's the use case? Listen, we're super excited to bring those chargers onto the network and review. I mean, we're so close to this. We talk about being kind of like, we're an infrastructure business, but we're not really. We're a customer business now. And so it's all about how is each site being used? What's the behavior? What do people really want? And so we're excited to, if it means putting in some more AC at sites and swapping some stuff out for different solutions, then, we're more than open to it. It depends what's going to get used.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So when you take on the new Mer sites, obviously BEV, they generally have 150 kilowatts, and you got somewhat of 350. So are Mer, me not knowing this network at all, are they mainly 150s or 50s or 350s? What are they? And is there opportunity for you to upgrade or downgrade different places? What's the plan, or is it just rebrand and keep everything as is and let's see how it is over the year? Or what's the are you allowed to share that kind of information?
Yeah, the Mer network's a cool mix of BEV is predominantly now a focus as an ultra rapid network, but that doesn't mean that, as I said, some sites are great for rapid and great for fast, and so there's a real mix of stuff. And so for now, it's very much going to be a case of go in, let's get it on our network, let's bring it up to standard, make sure everything's reliable, usable, and then we'll see. And then sites that are super busy, then there's no reason why we won't go in and expand. And the same for sites that might be a little utilized at the moment. It might be a great opportunity to shift some stuff about. So I think primarily it's going to be a case of just bringing it up to a great standard and seeing how customers use it, because it's going to change. It's going to completely change overnight compared to what it's used now, with new pricing and new ways to pay and all that kind of stuff.
You didn't take them over because they were poor and you could bring them up to standard. You took them over because they were good.
I think it's a great point, though. This is a great network, and that's why we bought it. And so we're really excited for it. I think it's also good to mention that this isn't like an and/or. This isn't you build your own stuff or you buy another network. This is very much both at once, at full throttle. So we're excited to bring this network online, but this by no means impacting our future rollout. And so all of the hubs we have planned are still going to be built, and we're still going full steam ahead at all the kind of great locations of retail parks and drive-throughs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's going to very much happen in parallel, which is really cool.
And the thing we talked about earlier was your rapid sites. I've not been to one, but I've seen them. I like the fact that you load share, don't you? You balanced, so a charger won't always give you this one thing. The whole site is linked up, and it will decide what you can have depending on who else is charging. Can you tell us a bit more competently about that?
Sure. Yeah. So and this is the kPower solution that we're using at the moment.
Okay, we like kPower. I like kPower. They're brilliant.
They're awesome, right?
They really are.
And they've got great UI, kind of great cables, all of stuff. So yeah, this is what we refer to as dynamic load management.
Yes.
And it means that I'll take Manchester Charging Oasis as an example. That site has 12 charging bays at the moment, and that's split across 2 power banks. And that will intelligently share it across the hub. And so when the clock passes 7 and we have a load of people coming to get some, cheap electrons, then it'll share it out based on what people want. And why it's important, it isn't just like a nice to have. It means we can have many more bays on the same power supply. So Manchester Charging Oasis, for example, I think has a power supply at the moment of about 1,000 kilowatts-ish, or maybe a touch more. And if you think about, 300 kilowatt chargers, if you were just doing designated chargers, that's 3 or 4 bays. And that's not what people want. Want, they don't want to be queuing and waiting. Most people are happy to, get 170 kilowatts versus 200 if it means charging straight away and still getting a good session. And so it means that for the same power supply, we're able to operate those more bays. And the other thing as well is even when we have more power available, what I touched on before is those really expensive kind of capacity and standing charges. And so they get more expensive as you have a bigger grid connection. And so if we can have more sensible, smaller sized grid connections for the same site and just balance it cleverly, then it means we're not paying those crazy capacity charges as well.
I saw online that a Mercedes E-Actros 600 started charging at the Manchester Oasis.
I saw that.
That was, for me, me and Paula are HGV drivers, so it interests us a lot. Now, when I know they do the highest, when you go in the car, the highest speeds are when it's a lower charge. But I believe on a HGV, the higher speeds are at the higher charge. Did it overload, and not overload, but did it max out everything? And what was your graph like? Was it like, and then it just took everything, and everyone else just sat there going, "Oh, what is nicking all my power here?"
It's quite boring, and the reason why it's quite boring is because these packs, they're enormous. They're like 500 or 600-700 kilowatt hours, so they're huge. And so, we touched on C rating before, but if they've got the same C rating as a Tesla pack or something, they'd be doing over 1,000 kilowatts. So for our system, it's kind of like, it's a bit boring to a truck. CCS can only provide up to 500 amps. And at that site, we're only providing 375 on those cables. And so, we're able to supply 300 kilowatts, but the graph is pretty boring because it's only at the bottom of what the truck would really ask for if it was given the chance. So I think we'll get to see those really spicy curves with MCS, and when, and kPower solution for MCS, and so do Alpatronic and plenty of others. And you're going to get some serious speeds, over 1,000 kilowatts. And then I think you'll properly see what the kind of charge curve looks like. For now, for us, it was so cool. I mean, I got a photo of it straight away.
Yeah.
I was like, so.
Can I just say, rather than 1,000 kilowatts, please say a megawatt, because it sounds so much cooler.
It does sound cool.
So I know before you expanded, I know you outsource your engineers, but now you're so much bigger, and now you're all over, mainly England, but you're into Wales and going towards the northeast and nipping towards Scotland. Are you now still going to outsource your engineers, or are you going to start having your own team?
He's full of great questions tonight, isn't he?
You know what I mean? I'm not a complete dick.
Not just
when I'm trying. Look at my LinkedIn.
I mean, we've got some awesome service partners. And so for the moment, I mean, frankly, you don't want to need lots of service because it means something's going wrong.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we're always reviewing kind of what's going on in the market. But yeah, we've got some great teams right now.
Anyway, James,
Yeah,
so what's
well.
the most exciting thing that you think is coming up apart from this acquisition? Have you got another hub that you're looking forward to, or another new technology or new charger? How Petronic get you excited?
Yeah, I mean, tripling the network's already been quite a feat. I think you'll actually see some Alpatronic on the network soon, and so we are trialing the 150 solution to start off with. And so at those kind of smaller sites, we'll have a great Alpatronic solution there. So our charge point management system is Fuse, and that's kind of the brain of the operation, if you like. And again, there's loads of cool stuff coming there too. So a customer is never going to know this and never going to interact with this. But for us, it means we're going to be so much smarter on kind of the network analytics. We're going to, again, be able to diagnose problems before a customer even encounters them. And so it's all about these. I think in the early days of the industry, it was all about big wins. It was all about massive unveils and massive stuff. Now it's about these cool incremental improvements that make the experience better, that can help drive down cost, and all that sort of stuff.
I wanted to talk to you, obviously, because I'm this hand bloke, about CHAdeMO. Talk to me about CHAdeMO. Tell me you love it. Please tell me.
I mean, you look at MCA, we've got, I think, 8 bays of CHAdeMO there, where it's the 12 sites, which is really cool. I mean, listen, if we look at the numbers and we go, how much of our usage is CHAdeMO? It's less than 1%.
Yes.
And so financially, you don't put CHAdeMO in because it doesn't pay back.
Of course not.
However, for us, it's really important that, I mean, so many people driving Leafs, ENV 200s and stuff are the people who started this whole EV thing. And so to just kind of turn off the charger network seems wrong. So for us, there's no kind of active plans to place any CHAdeMO. We're still putting CHAdeMO in loads of sites that we're building. Yeah, it's kind of business as usual for us. But I think we'll slim down the amount of CHAdeMO sites, of course, and it may come down to 1 or 2 bays.
You see, Chris, I told you he's a good guy. You didn't believe me, but I told you.
He's not going to come on your podcast and say CHAdeMO shit, is he?
CHAdeMO shit.
I'd like to think not. No.
That's for us to
Might
do, isn't it? Yeah.
as well put fucking milk in it.
I've got a Mitsubishi IMEV, haven't I? So I drove from North Bristol to Bournemouth, and I had to use CHAdeMO, and it would only work on old 100 kilowatt tritium charges. It wouldn't work on anything else.
So like the e-Golf works in a similar way, where their communication with the charger was pre-standardization, and so they can very easily freak out a lot of chargers. So yeah, it's cool when you see some older EVs on the network that kind of speak a completely different language to these chargers, and hope they don't break them.
I mean, these adapters, I don't have one to show you. These adapters that...
I don't want to talk about them.
In a previous episode,
you're
going to have to, James, you're going to have to live with them because Leaf is still the second, Leaf is still the third most numerous EV on the roads today. And yes, they don't do a great deal of long range stuff, so they don't do a great deal of rapid charging. Almost all of their stuff is at home. But the advent, but you say that, but the advent of these adapters is bringing the Leaf into a new lease of life, particularly the bigger batteries, not my stupid 20 kilowatt crappy that I've got here, but the 40s.
Well, like 14 now, isn't it?
70%. Well, 70% of a 30 kilowatt is not a great deal. It's all right in the summer. Stop laughing. But
we're laughing at no, we're laughing at you, not with you, or with you, not at you. I'm not sure.
These adapters are really popular, and I look forward to annoying you with those systems in the future.
So yeah, but joking aside on those, this was an early problem. So when these do, and the firmware for the chargers doesn't know what the hell these things are, we're kind of over that.
Can I say that the firmware on the adapter is just as likely to be the issue as the firmware on the charger?
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be useful, and it's great for us. It means that we can build, when we build a site, because CHAdeMO is not just another connector. When you're using ChemPower, it also essentially doubles up the amount of satellites you need because you need 2 cables on a post. And so when we do remove CHAdeMO, it means less cost of install, but it also means more bay size because there's less satellites. We can have bigger bays for people, so they're not worried about banging doors and stuff. Like it can lead to a cleaner layout and an easier hub. So if I think that they were still like 700-800 quid the last time I looked, weren't they? They're coming down a bit. I
Oh,
hope.
yeah. I mean, we're now below 600 quid. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that's when it's like, okay, if you can get a great deal on a Leaf and add 600 quid, then it makes sense.
It's approaching mass adoption price, I think. It's
Yeah.
nearly.
I think so. Touching on the Leaf, because there's obviously going to be the new Leaf launching in the UK soon.
TCS2 though, but yeah.
And then there's going to be the Micro as well. So not to do a plug, but I think it's exclusive, so I might mention it.
Go on.
We recently launched the subscription through Electroverse as well, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And that subscription will soon be available with a kind of a few months free through Nissan Charge 2. So everyone getting a nice new Leaf, nice new Micro can get the subscription for free for a bit as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Well done.
That's a good scoop, isn't it, for the Nissan owners group?
I was not aware of that. No.
All 4 of our viewers will be excited about that.
James, charge port location. What's your thoughts?
Oh, good question. Well done.
So I've got a Model 3, and whilst it makes sense to me, it would make sense more in the American market, because every time I plug my car in, I have to walk around the car, which is really annoying. But I do think a rear side is useful. Though I think it's important that, honestly, it's going to be different. So for vans, because of the scalable wheelbase, you need it at the front. And that's also easier for a lot of people as well. What I think is important, not to give the
head.
Chris is
not to give but I think if you just build hubs with long enough cables to suit every location, everyone's happy. Like,
it's the correct answer. I mean, the primary correct answer is obviously the charge port has to be in the nose of the car. However, the secondary best answer is make a longer cable.
What a bollocks!
Shut up.
So James, if you have to pick, you're going to say on where it is on my
Can we
EV6,
just say Chris is
side
talking
rear.
to us from a diesel car?
Yeah, so
Ignore that.
I mean, Paul, are we not cheating with the new Leaf? I've seen in some markets it has a charge port on both sides.
On the US, yeah, because
they couldn't fit NACS in the other
Yeah,
side. could they?
yeah,
Right, so can I get the answer to this question, James? Do you think driver's side rear like my EV6? Is that what I implied from what you were saying? If you had to put your money on one location,
I would, if I'm honest, I would, yeah.
Yeah, ignoring how annoying that'd be at V2 and V3 superchargers.
yeah, you get looked at strangely when you're taking up 2 bays, don't you? Yeah. Where do you think the best place is for?
I personally think the cable should just be long enough to reach around it. I always reverse into a bay anyway, and van for a van size, I think you should reverse in anyway. But it doesn't matter really. I mean, my only argument is if it's at the front, put it in the middle or on the bonnet.
Yes.
Don't have it like the Kona where it's at the front, but a little bit to the side.
Yeah.
It's just like someone's bog-eyed. It looks weird. Just centralize it. But other than that, I mean, I've just make the cable long enough. It doesn't matter because.
But on the back, is that what you're saying?
Say again.
On the back, is that what you're saying?
I mean, I like it. I'd put it where the fuel tank always goes, or the cable. I'd have it there, but at the front makes no difference to me. Just as long as if you can charge it, I'm not bothered. Just make a long cable if you want. But
James, what are you looking forward to? I mean, is there a particular model of car? Obviously, I'm looking into Leafs and Micros. What's stirring your loins at the moment?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I love a Volvo estate.
Oh, good. I love a Volvo estate too.
And so once there's the kind of V60 equivalent electric estate, I think I'll be in. And I think I read recently that their new platform does allow for this.
Yes, because Volvo ditched estates in this country apart from police vehicles. Is that? Yeah, they're in the middle of last year.
Yeah, we have finally got lots of interesting electric estates coming. We saw a few today, didn't we, online? So we've got the, what's it called? The Xiaomi, forget it. and the avatar, whatever that one's called, will look less stupid in the edit. We'll put the picture of the car here.
I don't guarantee it.
Estate, yeah, I've always gone on for years now about wanting a Neo ET5T,
Nice.
the estate car. Just such a good looking thing.
I agree.
That'd be perfect. But yeah, we've got the ID7 touring, haven't we? But that's quite a big bus, as we mentioned in the previous episode. And I want something that you're not quite, like you said, V60 size would be ideal, wouldn't it?
We have to look to more developed markets now and look to the Nordics. And so, we were looking at something the other day, which was around how the behavior is changing. And it's not going to bigger batteries, more power, bigger sessions. It's the opposite. It's going to cheaper EVs with smaller packs, with shorter charges, and it just kind of fits into your day. So I think a lot of these EVs that are just, more affordable and you can kind of graze charge, I do kind of think that's where we might end up.
Do you think that's because people's opinions of what they think they need have finally caught up with reality? I mean, we were talking before, I've got 77 point something kilowatt hour battery. I don't think I've ever really taken it down below 20%. I could have charged on that journey earlier if I felt like it. People need to be realistic about what they actually do with their cars, and carting around a great big boat anchor of an extra battery for no reason is a bit dumb, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and that's it. It's the confidence in having a car, and your first EV, you may want 300, 350 miles, but after that, you kind of go, actually, my bladder range is probably less than that, and so I'm going to stop to charge anyway, and maybe 200 miles will do. And if, wait a minute, there's this super cheap Citroen EC3 or the super cheap BYD Dolphin Surf, then they become quite enticing when you're much more comfortable with battery range, I think.
So some time ago, I prophesied that there's going to be a consolidation in the fast charger market. So clearly, that's we're seeing that with your guys taking over Mer. Do you see further consolidation?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable, and we've seen that this week. We've seen not just our acquisition, but there was two others of on-street chargers too. So I think this is going to be. We kind of had a period of quite cheap borrowing, and a lot of different players thinking,
yes,
I can have a go at this.
Yeah.
How hard? And now we've ended up with ultimately quite a fragmented system now in the UK of so many different networks, and it's bad for the consumer when the experience is just so fragmented. And so now we've also got so many of these networks with overheads. Every charging network's going to have a marketing team and an operations team and a HR team, and they're still operating companies. And I think we're clearly getting to that stage where we don't need that much duplication, and it's probably going to be good for a consumer if there's good reliable networks with big spread. And so yeah, I think that's definitely what we'll see this year.
This has been perhaps the pinnacle of Control Alt Refuel, because we've had James Gee. His inbox is absolutely overflowing for reasons that we've already discussed, yet he's chosen to give us more than an hour of his time in the weekday evening. James, I'm ever so grateful. Thank you so much for putting up with the nonsense from these two guys.
Thanks for having me. And I'd also say as well, especially now, but we've got so many places across the UK. We'd love to do something at a hub. Let's go plug some stuff in whilst we're chatting and what have you. So yeah,
we will absolutely take you up on that. All of our episodes are going to be on YouTube very, very shortly, and the audio versions are going to be where you get your podcast. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast or your video, and leave a comment wherever you can do. Again, James, thank you so much for your time. It's been excellent. Good night, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye.